So the Constitution of India that well defined what are the different rules and regulations of the Indian democracy. So there is our constitution begins with the preamble. Preamble, that is called the skeleton of the Indian constitution. Skeleton means that is the preface, you can say. That when you are going to read the book, before that if you go through the preface, so you can able to understand that what is the content of that book. So like that, preamble is the content of the constitution. So it is the summary of the Indian constitution. So that's why from the preamble you can able to understand the different features of Indian constitution. And India is declared as a democratic country. Because why it is called democracy? Because the government should have to form on the basis of the consent of the people. So people, they should have to give their consent by casting their vote. So elections, those are conducted for the different levels of the government. So now we have to explain more about the circumstances and what are the different conditions of India at the time of its independence and who framed the constitution for India. So when India achieved its independence, India faced a lot of problems. India facing a lot of problem at the time of its independence. First one, we can say the refugee problem. The refugee problem means that when India divided into two countries, India and Pakistan, so there started the people, those who migrated from Pakistan to India to take shelter, and also there are so many people from India, they migrated to Pakistan. So this is a greater problem for India at the time, how to settle the refugees. The number two, that is called the merging of the princely states in the Indian Federation. You must heard the name of the first Home Minister of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who is called the Iron Man of India. Do you know why he is called the Iron Man of India? Because under his able leadership, he able to merge all the 563 princely states in Indian Federation. So the merging of these princely states in a Indian Federation, it is a Herculean task. It is a task like hard like iron, and he able to do it. So under the able leadership of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, so these princely states, those are merged in the Indian Federation. So we can say that this is another problem that was arise at the time. And number three, that is the poverty, the illiteracy, those are prevalent in India. India also faces a lot of economic troubles, and there is a problem for framing of Indian constitution. So when these are the different problems faced by India when India achieved its independence, so in that circumstance, India also framed the constitution of India. So who framed the constitution of India? So the task of framing Indian constitution, it was given to the Constituent Assembly, which was framed in 1946. So C. Rajagopalachari, or you can say Dr. B. R. Ambedkar, and so many eminent leaders, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, so they all involved in the process of the framing of Indian Constitution. After a lot of debate and discussion, which was continued more than 2 years. So it was started in 1946, and it was the drafting of the Constitution, it was comes to an end on November 1949. and the task it was given to the Constituent Assembly, which is consisting of the elected representatives from the different part of India. About 380 or more members were included in this Constituent Assembly, whose main purpose that how to frame a constitution for India. And the framing of the constitution, it was comes to an end after the debate and discussion on November 1949. But our constitution came into force on 26th of January 1950. The reason that our constitution framers, they want to remember that historic day of 26th January. Do you know what is the historic significance of this day? And our constitution framers, they decided to implement our constitution on this 26th of January 1950. The reason is that for the first time, 26th January that was celebrated as the first Independence Day of India. That is, in 26th January 1930, our leaders of the Indian nationalist movement, they celebrated this day as the Independence Day. So to remember that day, so our constitution framers, they wait till 26th January 1950, and on 26th January 1950, our constitution came into being. And from that year onwards, every year we are celebrating 26th January as the Republic Day. So now we have to explain about that what are the different features of Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution, the first feature we can say federalism. Our Constitution states that India is a federal country. Why India is called a federal country, do you know? Because in India, the power is shared among the three different levels of the government. The union government or the central government that works for the entire country. The state government that works for the concerned state. Then the third level of government that is called the local self-government or the grassroots level government, which works in municipalities or in the villages. So the power is shared among these more than one level of the government in India. So it is well defined in our country. What should be the power of the central government? What should be the power of the state government? And what should be the power of the local government? So all these are well defined in the Constitution. So we say that this is the first feature of Indian Constitution. The second feature that is called India is called a parliamentary form of government. Because in our country, parliament is the supreme authority. All the powers are vested in the hand of parliament. So the people's verdict that will be considered as the supreme. All the people, all the representatives, those who are elected from the different part of our country, so they should have to go to the parliament, and on behalf of the people, they should have to frame the constitution, frame the law for our country. So as the people, they elect the representatives. So in our country, parliament's decision will be considered as the supreme. So that's why our country is called a parliamentary form of government. This is the second feature of Indian Constitution. The third one, that is called the separation of power. According to the Constitution, there are the three different organs of the government: legislature, executive, and judiciary. Earlier in federalism, I told you there is three different levels of the government. Sometimes students, they are confusing the levels of the government and the organs of the government. So organs, you can keep in your mind your body parts, and the levels of the government, those are the different government, those are formed in the different levels. So the organs of the government, that is legislature, executive, and judiciary. So the power is well defined, that what should be the power of the legislature, so that executive will not have to interfere and the judiciary will not have to interfere. What should be the power of the executive? That is well defined, What should be the power of the judiciary? That is also well defined. So nobody should have to interfere in the internal matter of others. So in this way we can say that the power it is distributed among the different organs of the government. So the another feature of the constitution that is called the fundamental rights. And you know that our constitution give 6 fundamental rights. Why these rights are called fundamental? Because without these rights, individual freedom is impossible. So when somebody will ask the question why these rights are called fundamental, because these rights are called fundamental because without these rights the individual freedom is impossible. So our constitution provides 6 fundamental rights for the citizens. The right to equality, one of them that is the most important, and the right to freedom, the right to freedom of religion, then right against exploitation, cultural and educational rights, and then the right against constitutional remedies. So these are the 6 fundamental rights. Those are given to the citizens of India and which well defined, and these rights those are provided to each and every citizen irrespective of the differences, that how everybody should have to enjoy their freedom. And the another feature of Indian constitution that is called secularity. India is called a secular country because there is no state religion that is declared, because all the religions are treated equal in front of the law. Okay, so these are the prominent features, and India is called a sovereign country. So the directive principle of state policy, whose main purpose that how to convert India as a welfare state. So that's why it is the moral responsibility of each and every government to implement the policies those are written in this directive principle or in the directive principle of state policy. So all these are the prominent features of the constitution, and I expect, dear, you must have to understand all these things properly, and I expect you have to know a lot of things relating to Indian constitution. Thank you all.